Hello everyone. Let us discuss the important news for 30th of March 2020. So the government has doubled its force on the lockdown that has been imposed in the wake of COVID-19 virus, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi in his address to the nation has asked for forgiveness for the difficulties that the people of India are going through due to the lockdown. Also, various other strategies have been announced, such as the deputy commissioners and superintendents of police have been made personally responsible for ensuring that only goods cross the state borders and people do not. Also, the supply of essential goods is being maintained for a minimum of 10 days. And the center has also appealed that the workers must get their wages where they are. It has been asked to be ensured by the states and UTs that all the daily wage workers and those who are employed on contract basis should get their wages and salaries compulsorily by the employers, or the states have to intervene if the employers do not take the responsibility of the employees for that particular purpose. Also, to curb the migrant exodus from the national capital and from other areas across the region, the government has enforced strict rules according to which any person who is found migrating from one place to another will be compulsorily quarantined for 2 weeks. The Houston Methodist Hospital has tried a new methodology which has also been approved by the United States Food and Drug Administration, which is known as the convalescent plasma therapy. So, in this particular therapy, it seeks to make use of the antibodies that have been developed in the recovered patient's blood against the coronavirus. So, the whole blood or plasma from such people is taken, and the plasma is then injected in critically ill patients so that the antibodies are transferred and boost the fight against the virus. The blood is taken as a whole blood out of the body of a person who has completely recovered from this particular problem, and then through the process of fractionation, the plasma is separated and then it is injected into the body of an infected person so that the antibodies also get transferred to the infected person and it can help in curing that particular person. In India, it has the facilities for removing 500 milliliters of plasma from a donor using apheresis. So this is a different process, but in this process also the plasma is separated from the blood and then it is injected into the affected person. For this experimental therapy to be tried out, the Drug Controller General of India, or the DCGI, will first have to grant blood bank approval for removal of plasma from recovered patients. So this is a long process, and any type of vaccine is also likely to take another year. However, this particular convalescent plasma therapy has offered a glimmer of hope that the antibodies, if transferred into the affected patients, can further the fight against this particular pandemic. The Indian Council of Medical Research has denied any community transmission in India. In India, the cases are still around 1000, which is a huge improvement as far as comparison with other countries is concerned. So the ICMR has strongly denied that India has reached the third stage of transmission, which is known as the community transmission. Because once the third stage of transmission is reached, the number multiplies dramatically. So until now, we have contained the spread of the virus, but the community transmission stage has not been reached in India, thankfully. So as the graph shows, in the first 45 days, 100 cases were reached. In the next 9 days, it went to 500, and in the next 5 days, it went to 1000. But still, India is not in that particular stage where every day thousands of new cases are found. Due to this particular virus outbreak, the Indian Premier League 2020 is likely to be cancelled and no mega auctions will take next year as well. Also, the Tokyo Olympics, which is the largest quadrennial extravaganza in the world, has also been postponed to the summer of 2021. Let us see the situation of COVID-19 around the world. So there are three types of countries where the spread of this virus is witnessed. In more than 187 countries, the virus has spread, and those 187 countries can be divided into three types as per the spread of this virus. In those countries where it is exponentially spreading, in those countries which have middled it out, or in those countries where the curve has flattened. So the countries where it is exponentially higher includes the United States of America, Italy, China, Iran, and France. So these are those countries, including UK, where exponential rise in the cases of COVID-19 have been witnessed. On the other hand, there are certain countries which have flattened the curve, or where the no new cases are being witnessed, or are being witnessed at a very minimalistic rate. And those countries are Japan, South Korea, Singapore, and Hong Kong. On the other hand, there are certain countries where the curve has neither flattened nor is it exponential, but is in the middle somewhere. And those countries include India and Finland. So India is at the cusp of that particular point where it can either go to the exponential curve or it can flatten the curve. So India should take lessons from the countries which have been able to manage or to flatten the curve of COVID-19. And the reasons are varying. In some countries, such as in South Korea, the reason was not a lockdown, but by ramping up the test rates. So the testing rate was the reason why the South Korea was able to reduce the spread of this particular virus. Whereas in other countries, the reason for flattening the curve was a huge lockdown. So India is also now practicing a lockdown of all its 130 crore residents, and this is one of the most crucial steps that India has taken to flatten the curve. So India is still in this middle curve, and India enjoys a very unique position because India is in that particular quadrant where, because of lower test rates, lower percentage of positive cases has been found. So India is one of the very few countries in this quadrant where the per million percentage of population who have been tested positive have also been the lowest. So it is an opportunity for us to contain the spread of this particular virus into the third stage. In another news, the president of Sri Lanka, Mr. Gotabaya Rajapaksa, has granted presidential pardon to a Sri Lankan soldier who was on death row for murdering 8 Tamil villagers. So this particular pardon has evoked a sharp outrage among the human rights activists around the world. That particular soldier was responsible for the wartime atrocities in what came to be known as the Mirusuvil massacre. The military police had immediately detained the soldiers involved, and that particular soldier was sentenced to death. But there is a moratorium or temporary prohibition on executions since 1976 in Sri Lanka. So by pardoning this particular soldier, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has sent out a message to his vast body of supporters among the Sinhalese. So Sinhalese are the dominant majority community in Sri Lanka, whereas Tamils are a minority. So the president had sent a message to his supporters among the Sinhalese population that he would not let war heroes languish in prison, even if it means that the minority Tamils get a chilling message that substantive justice for war crimes will always elude them. And even when rendered, it would be undone with a stroke of pen. So although that particular soldier was convicted by a court of law and was sentenced to death, the act of his pardoning by the president has sent out a chilling message to the Tamil minority that those who are responsible for the wartime crimes will not be punished. Sri Lanka's constitution lays down a procedure that says that the president must get a report from the trial judge, the attorney general's advice on that, and a recommendation from the minister of justice before he can pardon a convict. However, there appears to be no rule that such advice or recommendation is binding. and if such advice is not binding, it totally becomes a discretion of the president to grant or not to grant pardon to a convict. UN Human Rights Commission and the rights watchdog bodies have questioned the release of the soldier, calling it a disgrace for the victims. So this shows deep divisions and deep fractures in the religious and ethnic composition of Sri Lanka. As a positive fallout of the COVID-19 outbreak, the air quality has improved in over 90 cities in India. Because of the reduced vehicular traffic across the country, reduction in various pollutants such as the particulate matter 2.5, particulate matter 10, nitrogen oxide, carbon monoxide, ammonia, lead, etc. have been witnessed. So the System for Air Quality and Weather Forecasting and Research, or SAFAR, has measured COVID-19 led pollution reduction to a drop in PM 2.5 levels by 30% in Delhi and by 15% in cities like Ahmedabad and Pune. Also, the nitrogen oxide levels have also reduced by 43% in Mumbai and 38% in Ahmedabad. So this is a huge development as far as environmental protection is concerned. The Central Pollution Control Board, which maintains the National Air Quality Index, has also said that the air quality in the national capital is presently in the good category. So the National Air Quality Index classifies the air quality into 6 categories. That is, between 0 to 50 it is considered good, because between 51 to 100 it is satisfactory, between 100 to 200 it is moderate, between 201 to 300 it is poor, from 301 to 400 it is very poor, and from 401 to 500 it is severe. And the environmentalists believe that the reduced pollution levels should act as a wake-up call for the government. In a study published by the Zoological Survey of India, it has been claimed that the Himalayan ibex is genetically different from other ranges of Siberian ibex. So this particular paper, called The Genetic Evidence for Allopatric Speciation of Siberian Ibex, has recently been published in the Endangered Species Research, an international peer-reviewed journal. So let us see what a Siberian ibex is. So Siberian ibex is a species of wild goat and is distributed in a diverse habitats ranging from cold deserts, rocky outcrops, steep terrain, highland flats and mountain ridges to low mountains and foothills. So it is distributed in diverse habitats. From Mongolia, its distribution extends towards Altai, Hangai, Gobi Altai, the Hurukh mountain ranges, as well as the Sayan mountain near Russia, and scattered populations in the small mountains of Trans-Altai Gobi. So it is found in the entire North and Central Asian region. In Asia, the ibex is distributed in the montane habitats, ranging in elevations from 500 meters to 6,700 meters in countries like India, Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, Mongolia, Pakistan, Southern Siberia, and China. In India, particularly, the ibex is distributed mainly in the Trans-Himalayan ranges of the Union Territories of Ladakh and the Union Territories of Jammu and Kashmir and the state of Himachal Pradesh, up to the river Satluj. So these are the areas where ibex is distributed in India. So to unravel the complexity of this particular species recognition of Himalayan ibex and Siberian ibex, the researchers under a project funded through the National Mission of Himalayan Studies, or NMHS, which is implemented by the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, undertook field surveys and collected fecal samples from Lahaul and Spiti in Himachal Pradesh. So the genetic analysis conducted with the inclusion of the sequences available from all across the distribution ranges in Central Asia, Tajikistan, Altai Mountains, Mongolia, and Russia provided the first evidence to claim that Himalayan ibex is genetically different from all other ranges of Siberian ibex. So the results of this genetic analysis surprisingly revealed that the Siberian ibex was estimated to have diverged from an alpine ibex during the Pleistocene epoch, which was around 2.5 million years ago, than the Siberian ibex during the Miocene Pliocene boundary, which was around 6.6 million years ago. So, this particular fact has been established in this particular journal. Let us see an MCQ. Which of the following pollutants is not considered for the purpose of National Air Quality Index in India? So there are 8 pollutants that are considered for the purpose of National Air Quality Index in India. First is the PM 2.5 or particulate matter 2.5. Second is the particulate matter 10. Next is the nitrogen oxide. Then is the sulfur dioxide. The fifth pollutant is carbon monoxide. The sixth pollutant is ammonia. The seventh pollutant is ozone, and the eighth pollution is lead. So these are the 8 pollutants which are considered for the purpose of National Air Quality Index in India. That means carbon dioxide is not one of those pollutants. So thank you everyone. This has been the news analysis for 30th of March 2020.